doing today? Well, I'm going through doing a little organizing. If anybody comes on here and has trouble hearing me, just let me know. So this here is a group of Canadian that my mother had socked away over the years. I've thrown them in a bag. I'm not really ever going to sell these. I thought I would kind of look at them and see what I got going on. I also have a box of some other silver, some dimes, quarter halves that I recently picked up, and just kind of going through and organizing some of these. What we got here? 1949, and that zoomed in on my thumb finger. Let me take this over here. $19.49 silver quarter. Here is a well-worn quarter. This is George V. It is dateless, as you can see. Here's the 25 cents. The date never could make it. I remember this as a kid. Never could make that out too well. And just a dime, Canadian dime, 1943. It's 1943. There's a cent. 1961. There's another dime. 1953. Hey, 9 dimes. How you doing? I said 50. That's a 59. Yep, just hanging out here, going through some old silver my mom had laying around. Oh, I shouldn't say silver, it's not all silver. Mostly, it looks like all Canadian. Little pile of it that my mom had laying around for years. I can remember this as a kid. Being fascinated with the Canadian 1969. That looks like good old scratch right down through the middle, doesn't it? Yeah. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. A good Friday on Good Friday. Yeah. So it's the way to be. 1964. Tell you what, let me go into my other Get a better view of some of these since I'm not using my 1964. I actually had the day off today. My company, this is a company holiday for us. We have people coming over on Sunday for Easter. So we're doing some cleaning, got the grass mowed, things like that. 1942, that was the year my mom was born. 1942 quarter. Well worn. Again, these were nothing special. I can remember looking at these when I was a kid, and I'm sure I studied the crap out of them, and I threw them in a bag. My mom and dad were kind of giving everything up. 1953, and I probably haven't looked at them since. Yeah, I actually have today off, and I went ahead and took a vacation day on Monday just because give me a nice 4-day weekend. Yeah, I don't get a lot of Fridays off, but I have the luxury of being able to work remote a lot. So I can work remote, and Fridays are a good day to do that. So a lot of Fridays I do work from home. And 1968, I don't believe this is the silver version of this. I believe in let me check that real quick. In 1968, they made two versions of the dime. They made a 50% silver, like they have been up to that point, and then they also made the nickel version, and this is a nickel version. The way you can tell is that the nickel will be magnetic. And obviously the silver's not. But this is the nickel one. There was 87 million of those made. And let's see what else we got here. There's another 1968 nickel. That is also, I'm sorry, it's the 1968 dime, but it's the nickel. The nickel variety. So in 1968, this is another neat little tidbit. Let me switch over to another display here. And this is Coins of Canada site, which is a great site. In 1968, the nickel version of the dime, they made them in Philadelphia and Ottawa, and then of course they made the silver version as well. The only way to tell between the Philadelphia and the Ottawa looks like to be in the reading. But there's no difference in pricing, not until you get way up into the uncirculated copy, so I'm not too worried about that. That's interesting. Some of these uncirculated ones are even higher than the silver version. Hey, Coin Junkie. How you doing? How you doing on this Good Friday? We are just sorting through some coins that my mother had laid back. I've got another box down on the floor here that I'll be going through here in a little bit. I'm just hanging out, not doing much this Friday night. It's raining outside. We're supposed to have a baseball game. My son was, but got rained out, so we're just gonna hang out. So glad you could stop by. $1967. This is the commemorative that Canada put out. They put out different designs on each of the dime, quarter, and half dollar, and the nickel as well, and the 5 cents. Here's a nice silver quarter, 1950. That's right. I just noticed that it's kind of small on my screen here, but I just did notice that. Perfect timing for you to come on. Right when I pulled that one out. Oh, what do we got here? Doesn't look like anything here is above 1968. I'm almost done, actually done with this little pile here. But it looks like everything is 1968 and before. And while I used to look at this stuff a lot as a kid, and of course it fascinated me when I was younger, there's nothing real valuable here, but I never really looked for it for any type of varieties or errors or anything like that. So I'm kind of just checking stuff out, see if I see any die cracks, or these are all pretty well worn. A lot of marks on this. A lot of these. Another dime, 1965. A lot of ugly marks on that one. Here we go. You guys will recognize this one. A lot of you will. Look at that. There's some die cracks there. Let's see. I'm not too good at using a pointer here. Right there. Let's see. The die crack goes up into the maple leaf there. Might stop there. $1945. In 1945, this is the what they call the Victory nickel. They made this is steel, and let me see, there was a variety that had missing chrome on it, but this is like chrome plated steel, if I remember correctly. This is kind of like our steel cents from 43, our steel wheat pennies, because of the demand for copper and everything else. Canada changed their nickel to be chrome plated steel. So that one had a little bit of a little die break. There was, look at those marks there. That's ugly. That's a shame. I have quite a few of these. I have one that has all kinds of issues with the chrome plating. Did I hold on to my pennies? Which pennies are that? Hopefully, hopefully everything's streaming right. I'm starting to get an error over here. 1964. Yeah, I'm not sure which pennies you're talking about, Coin Junkie. Oh, Canadian. I keep them when I find them. I'm here in Ohio, and I still find quite a bit of Canadian interchange. So most of my Canadian gets thrown into a bucket, and I'll go through it at some point. But I can't say that I go out of my way to seek them out either. I know there's some varieties on these pennies. Nothing major though. I'm about done with these. I got a quarter here. So now I want to move on to some American silver, I think, anyways. There might be a few other things here I'll look at while I'm looking. It's a well-worn 55. So I did go to the store today, and as is usual, I checked the reject bin at the Coinstar there, and there were a few things in there. I had no foreign. I had a couple really crappy looking American cents, and I did get this. This was in there too. This is a token, or whatever you want to call it, from the History Channel Club. At first I thought, when I grabbed it out of there, because I just grabbed it out of there, and oh yeah, I throw all my Canadian, when I find them, I throw my Canadian in a bucket, and I'll take a quick glance at them, but I don't look real close. But if I seen a nice lamination, I'm sure I would have caught that. I have yet to find one with that. Find a lot of the hanging 4s and 3s and 5s and whatever years those are, in a sense. So this was just kind of a neat little token. I thought I wasn't sure what it was when I first picked it up, but it's kind of neat. Oh, I just dropped one on the floor. Oh. The older I get, the farther the floor gets away from me. Here's a real nice 1965. It's got a lot of marks on it. Of course, this scope is really magnifying it more than it really is. I have a lot of other Canadian in a binder over here, some of my nicer stuff. I actually got one up, got this up for sale on eBay if anybody's interested. This is I talked about this one a couple days ago, but this is a George V nickel, and get this this so you can see it better. 1925. That's a key date on in the nickel series. You know, it's in good, very good condition. Got this in a group of yeah, I really have to learn more about the types of the scents. I know there's quite a few. I'm not really good with the varieties yet on one of those. Haven't studied them yet too much. You can see this is well worn. There's not a lot of detail there in the crown. But I've seen worse of this date. I mean, this is a key date. I've seen a lot worse. This one I picked up in off eBay. I cherry picked this one. This was in a group of other George V nickels and a few other. There's some other stuff in there, but I think there was probably about 20, 30 coins in this group, and I might have paid $6, $7, $8, something like that for them all. And I bought it because of this one. So it's a fun to find those type things. Are still out there on eBay. If you know what to look for and you're patient, you can find it. I really should put my eBay thing in the description in case anybody's interested. Here is the Tomback version of the Canadian Victory nickel, if you will. Has that yellow golden colored to it. It's like a little die crack going from the top of the A up here. I'm not good at using my pointers. The top of the A right there. It's like a little die crack there. $25. Yeah, that's another good one that I don't have that one. But yeah, that was a great buy. And when I first saw it, I actually looked at it and I was like, I can't be seeing that right. The picture wasn't that great, and it was that coin was tucked up in the corner, and I thought, man, I can't be seeing this right. And I even brought my son in here, and I said, he doesn't collect coins. He doesn't know anything about them. And I said, what's the date on that one up in the corner? And he said, it looked like a 1925. I was like, okay. So I grabbed that up. 72. So yeah, I spend a bit of time going through eBay. Looking for buys like that. Probably not as much as other people do, or I'm not very diligent about it, but I enjoy it. This is a kind of good one. Now, while I live in Ohio and I get quite a few Canadian, I don't get a ton. So you don't see a lot of varieties out here, but here is 2000 quarter, and I don't know the story behind this, why they made these commemoratives, but picked this out of a group of quarters that I had. Well, let's see what else we got here. Here's a nice. Let's see. I thought that was a different date. I really like the design on those George V nickels. Better than the beaver. There's just something about them, and I really like this design on the cent as well in the same time frame. So 32. And there's just something about, I don't know. I'm not sure why I like these designs better. Just always have. But this is another George V. Here's a, let's see what this one is. 29. It's pretty rough. What's this one here? 1920. This is the first year they made the small cents in Canada, I believe. This one's actually got pretty nice. It's still got a little bit of luster in it. Either that or somebody polished it up pretty good. It's a little rough, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody tried to clean it there. Well, let's I'm gonna clean this up, and I'm gonna go grab that box of silver down here and kind of see what we got here. I have this silver that my dad had laying around, and he recently gave me a bunch of old coin rolls that he had, and a bunch of $50 and 29. Let me look. I got that. I think you may be right. Let's go. You know what? You can follow along with me. Let's go to 1920. Yes, there is. Let's see what I got here. Let me pull that one back out. If I can find it. Doggone it. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Here's the 29. It looks like, my guess, that's the low 9. Just looking at it. And so let's go in here. And I would say that's the low 9. So that is the more common variety, unfortunately. But that's a good one to remember. Let's see what other varieties we got here that year. So you can see the, they made large cents and small cents in 1920. They made both of them. Obviously the 22, 23, and 25 look to be the key dates in that series. And the only real varieties, I know there's 36 dot, that there's probably like, what, 5 of them. I think I remember that's a pretty, like, almost unique coin. And here's I love, like I said, I love this design. But yeah, you can see this is the nickel. 25 is the clearly the just out of the standard dates. This is the key. Now these, for those of you who don't know, these are Canadian prices, so I do my own little translation. Like anything else, I take these prices with a grain of salt. So cool stuff. So let's switch back to here. And so I was saying about this silver. I got this box of silver. My dad gave me a bunch of rolls of change that he had, and I kind of went through it. And he also had, and he was savvy enough to pull out his own silver and other coins, and so he was savvy enough with that he knew what he was doing. So he'd pull that stuff out and throw it aside. So I went through all the other boxes or rolls of stuff and didn't find anything. But then I'm going through the silver that he had thrown aside. Now there's not a ton in here, but let me switch to this display here. So this should be a full roll of quarters, or close to a full roll anyways. We've got some half dollars that we can go through. Franklin. And it's like a bunch of dimes. This is just a handful that I pulled out of the box. There's Mercs, there's Rosie's in there. So we'll go through those. This will be, don't know if I'll do them all today. Depends on how long I stay on here. But we'll give it a start. So let me switch back. Here. Let's go through the halves here. Now, I will say, he had given me stuff over the years too. So, I already have some of his silver that he had given, that he had kept. Okay, bye, dear. Wife's heading out to the store. And, oh, here is a box. I didn't see this at first. Let me switch back to this real quick. Yeah, that's something that I haven't done. I know, like I said, he's had these since I was a little kid, and so I looked at them when I lived at home, and I went through them, but I didn't. Obviously, this was back in the 70s, 80s, and I didn't have the resources, didn't have the internet. I didn't know a lot of the double dies. So unless it was completely obvious, I didn't catch it. So this would be a perfect time to kind of go back through a little more detail. Let me switch back to this because I found another box that is filled, and I know these haven't been going through any varieties. I've got some Ikes in there, some. Come on, I'm trying to get this to focus. Anyway, some Ikes in there, some SBAs. Even got some gold dollars. So that'll be another thing we can go through at some point here. Oh, about knocked my iced tea over. That wouldn't have been good. Alright, so let me get this out of the way. Get this stuff out of the way. Get these out of the way. Can't see what I'm doing, but that's okay. You can probably hear what I'm doing. Alright. So these are probably going to all be... Oh, I started to say I had... Yeah, the more I've learned as I've gotten older, some of these are such minor doubling and stuff. What I really liked the repunchment marks. That's another thing I always look for. I actually did find a really nice. Let me see if I can get to it here. I found came from my dad. I found a really, I like walkers too. He had some walkers, and I think he had given me those already. Whether I do it tonight or not, I will go through some point. I have a really nice, or I have my thing of junk silver down there. Couldn't think of what I was trying to say. Well, shoot, I don't have it handy. I have a really nice deal repunchment mark. It's one of the major varieties. It was so obvious even as a kid I noticed it, because I knew a little bit about them. My uncle was a big coin collector, and he was a member of Konica, and he gave me some old of their newsletters, and so I knew a little bit about stuff like that back in the 60s, 70s. But I do love walkers. I have quite a few. I'm going to pull up. Another site. These look like these halves may be almost all 64s with a Franklin in here somewhere. Let me see. What am I looking for? Here we go. Alright, so first off, let's see if this is, let's see what this is. It's got a big hole in it, is what it is. Well, if you see anything that I'm not seeing, feel free to holler at me. Or if you're watching this after I'm done, throw it down in the comments. Doesn't look like anything special there, but hey, it's a silver 90%er with a hole in it. This one is also a Philadelphia. This one's in a bit better shape. And I know, I probably should be wearing gloves, but there's nothing here. I do tend to collect mostly, well, I shouldn't say that. I've focused on foreign a lot lately, and so my varieties of US has been slipping a little bit, but I tend to pick things up over. I've been collecting for about 40 years, probably since I was about 8, and I am now 48. So you do tend to gain a little bit of knowledge over those years. I would typically collect some crap on the top there. I would go in spurts when I was up until a couple years ago. I'd I'd go in spurts where I'd be collecting. I'd almost be obsessed with it. For there's a Denver. I don't see anything going on with that. Let me get this a little closer in there. Try to get that focus there. Yeah, the D looks good to me. Some dirt on. I tend to I would collect in spurts where I would be almost obsessed with it for a couple months, 6 months, maybe even a year, and then I would get bored and go on to something else for another 6 months or a year, and I kind of come back and forth. And their plane date. And I tell you, since I discovered the YouTube community about 9 months ago, it's really kept me focused on it, and not necessarily obsessed, but focused. Are you in Canada? Or you get a box of just pennies, or do you get a box of Canadian pennies every week? Here's the date. Oh, here's my Franklin. '63. I do a little coin roll hunting, but I don't. Wow, whole box Canadian pennies. Are you in Canada? Or are you here in the States? You can see some damage from the reading of another coin. So probably when it got thrown in a bag, it got dinged up by another $50 right there. I do a little coin roll hunting. As a kid, obviously, I focused mostly on pennies and nickels because that's all I could afford. My dad had a service station, so I was able to have access to a ton of change just in day to day. And so I didn't really find the need to go coin roll hunting too much because I had everything I needed. And but nowadays, I'll pick up some rolls now and again. I've got to get a box. I don't know, I'm just kind of lazy that way. I'm not big into watching the cone roll videos, the hunting videos. Now what I do, okay. So do you still find any good older stuff in any of those boxes? I mean, do you find any George V's or anything like that? You still find silver if you search dimes, quarters, halves. Just curious how well, compared to what we find here, it seems like people do pretty well with $50. Here in the States anyways, but you got to go through a ton of boxes. I think that's my, now here's the thing I find, enjoyment out of. I love, even though you don't tend to find much stuff, I love searching through bulk lots of foreign coins. It's just something about that that I. A lot of people complain about when they buy bulk lots off of, at least people here in the States do, um, when they buy bulk lots of foreign off of eBay or wherever. They'll make a big deal if they get a ton of Canadian or even Mexican coinage in there. And I don't mind it, actually. I don't know. I don't know. I just enjoyed stuff that's nice. 9 silver quarters in a box and 7 dimes. You don't find that much here in these States, that's for sure. I can't tell you the last time I found a silver quarter. Silver dimes show up occasionally. Again, I don't search boxes and boxes of them every day or every week, but just in regular change. If I just look at regular change, so $50 just aren't circulated anymore, so you can't even get them at the bank, huh? They still, well, they don't circulate here in the States, but the bank still can get them. I can't remember the last time I got a $50 in change. Although I do spend them. I think it's kind of fun. I spend those. I spend $2 bills. Mostly just to get the reaction out of people. What is that? The dollar coins. Denver, the D looks good. Nothing special there. Yeah, I love the coins in Canadian. 2 Indian heads, huh? Yeah, I've never found one of those in a roll. You're doing better than I am. Now, is that in a Canadian box? They're doing this thing around here, or here in the U.S. Actually, I don't. Maybe they're doing it in Canada too. Maybe it's more international than I think it is, but they've been really pushing this Great American Coin Hunt Week thing that's starting up this Sunday, and a lot of dealers and people are releasing some old coins into circulation. Silver, wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, V nickels, Indian head pennies. So I suspect we'll be hearing more and more about people finding stuff like that here in the future. Well, maybe I should come up to Canada and get me some boxes, because you seem to be doing much better than I ever would down here. I can get to Canada in a couple hours. I think it's about trying to think which way would be quicker. Probably going up towards like Niagara Falls area for me, anyways. So that's a couple hour drive. But maybe I should come up there. These have all been 64s. There wasn't a ton of them in here, but I know I had grabbed a bunch of his halves before. $50 boxes are fun. I do enjoy those. Well, like I said, I've never gotten a box. I just ain't got that kind of patience, but I'll pick up some rolls when they come in, and I ask the teller or the bank tellers. I made actually the bank teller, the bank I go to. I've made good friends with the tellers, and she'll call me if she gets anything different in there. I don't know, about around Christmas time, she gave me a call, and she had 12 Eisenhower dollars that came in, so I got those for face value. Um, Waiting for the day when she calls and says, "Hey, I've got," well, not that she'll say what they are, but I go in there and there's some Morgan dollars or Peace dollars or something like that. So I'm waiting for that day. Well, this one looks like somebody cleaned it. I see a lot of hairlines on it that actually you can't tell. There's the camera. Can't really tell, but it's got some weird coloration, like somebody cleaned that one. Yeah, the one teller that I deal with, we go way back. Our kids had played sports together, and so I knew her from outside the bank even. And then, I always make a point to go in. I'm not one of those ones that goes to the drive-through all the time, and I like to go in and chat with people and remember their birthdays, things like that. Because you treat them right, they'll treat you right. So these are all 64s, and with the one Franklin in there, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 12 of those. I should write this down because I am actually going to pay my father for these at some point. He's not going to just give them to me. I mean, he would, but I'm just going to pay him for them. So I'm just going to write down. Boy, that fan on my computer is really going here. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. What else we got here? Well, let's go through the quarters. See what we got here in the quarters. I'm almost sure these are all Washington quarters. Yeah, Coin Junkie, you have to keep an eye out for my streams. This is one of the few times I talk. I tend to talk a lot of foreign stuff, and Canadian's a big part of that for me because I do have a lot of Canadian stuff. Today I needed to go through the silver. It's been sitting on my desk for a while, so I needed to go through this silver. It does look to be about a roll. I don't see anything in here but Washington's. Let's see what we got. Again, if you see anything that I'm not seeing, let me know. I don't know my Washington varieties that well, other than the obvious RPMs and things like that. Let's see. It's a 61. Let's see if it's anything. Yeah, it's 61D. Doesn't appear to be any major RPMs of that here. I'm sorry, double dies of that here. Let's see what kind of, got a few RPMs, but doesn't look like anything there. I don't have any Canadian proof sets. Actually, I only have a few foreign proofs in general, but I don't think I have any Canadian proofs. I know I don't have any sets. I may have. I don't think I have any Canadian proofs. $1964. Denver. Looks like a little bit of a I've gotten quite a few RPMs. Most I've found, most of them I bought unattributed, or not bought, but some of them I found in circulation even. But some I bought, like I have a handful of silver war nickels, and those I bought just as war nickels, and got a closer look at them, and there's a lot of RPMs on the silver war nickels. They're actually pretty easy to find. Look right there on the left side of the D there. Let me see, what year was this? 64. Let's see what we got. Let's see if I see anything that looks like that. I'm looking at Variety Vista. So, I am not seeing any. That might be the closest thing to it, but I'm not seeing that. Let me switch back to the bigger scope here. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Could just be machine doubling there. So I'm not going to throw that one aside. No big deal there. It is a nice condition 64 though. It's got some crud on it, some wear nicks, but it looks pretty nice. Here's a 58. A lot of these are pretty well worn. Dad probably pulled these out of circulation at the garage. That looks pretty normal and pretty worn. Yeah, my wife went to the store and got people coming over for Easter this weekend, so gotta pick up a few more things. Yeah, it had that shelf-like appearance. I know some RPMs can give a similar appearance that I've seen, but that one definitely had that shelf appearance. '64 plain. I know there's some varieties on these too. Maybe not necessarily the 64s, but again, I am not real good with my Washington quarters. I just haven't. It wasn't something that I really collected much of. I mean, I'd throw the silver aside. Now it's about the extent of it, and look for obvious things, but just never really paid too much attention to it. As far as varieties and stuff, I just never really focused on it. It's series that I pay a ton of attention to. I never got into collecting the state quarters or any of that stuff. I did when they first came out, but I got old quick. It's Denver. Didn't look what year it was. Looks pretty warm, probably in the 50s, I'm guessing. 52. There's a few, but they're pretty obvious. There's a few RPMs for that year, but they're pretty obvious. And this is pretty worn, so it's going to be hard to tell anyways. This site I'm going to is Variety Vista. It's a pretty good site. This is the Washington Quarter section. They have sections on all kinds of different series. Yeah, the state quarters and everything, they have a ton of different errors and double dies and whatnot, and I've kind of paid attention a little bit to them in the last year or so, especially as I've learned more about them in online here, but it's still just not a series, that I collect a lot of. It's actually harder to find sometimes, I think, just in my day-to-day change. It's harder to find the normal, I say normal, but the old style reverse anymore. You guys see more, it's more of the state quarters and park series and whatnot. That D looks pretty normal to me. What year was this? I think it was 64. Don't see anything else going on. So another 64. Denver. Yeah, there's a lot of die chips. There's a lot of doubling too on places that it's like I would have never noticed if somebody didn't have a nice picture laid out. And I guess I don't have that kind of patience to look through coins, newer coins, looking for new errors. I wish I did, because it'd be kind of cool to discover a new variety or a new error, but I just don't have that kind of patience. Looks like there might be a little bit of a, yeah, that's kind of neat. Got a looks like a die crack. It goes from the bottom of the 1 here to the base of George, runs over, got a nice little die chip there, and then it's kind of lost in the braid there. That's kind of neat. Let's see if anything else going on in this thing. I think I've got some new coins coming in the mail tomorrow. New to me anyways. Yeah, I think that might be a die crack. You can see it goes through the 1 to the rim and kind of jumps across there. Alright, looked at that. I'll set this one aside. It's my first find there. 63. Another 64 is loaded with 64s. Looks good down there. Yeah, I had a bunch of. Let me look over here. I had these errors, these RPMs sitting on my desk. I don't know what I did with them. So unorganized. Trying to get better. Yeah, I'm just going to hang out here until I get tired of sitting here. I already ate supper. Like I said, we had plans for the baseball game. My son plays. Got rained out today, so really had nothing else planned. Plenty of stuff I could be doing around here. That's got some crud there on the legs. $63. It is amazing how much these scopes, while you can show the detail, they really make a coin look crappy. You really see all the details. Sometimes you don't want to. And it's tough when I go to some of these online auctions. I see Cheapskate and Lemonhead and a few of those other ones that have auctions. They all have these scopes, and it's really tough to judge the quality of a coin sometimes because they're using these scopes, and it really blows up the details. And there's a lot of machine doubling on this one, on the F there, on the M, E. This is a classic view of the machine doubling. I know a lot of people get fooled by that, but yeah, that's classic. Or it's almost one worth keeping just to show as an example. But yeah, these scopes are nice, but a lot of times I'll if I bought a few things from Cheapskate, a few things from Lemonhead, and sometimes I don't know what I'm getting because of the way the scope kind of blew it up. I'm like, well, it's a good price, I'll get it anyways. But boy, a lot of times it comes in better than I thought it was going to be. So what part of Canada are you in? Looks good there. This is a nice one here. There's a lot of luster on this one. Well, you're not too far from me. I'm in northeastern Ohio. And if I remember my geography right, geography right, part of Ontario is right north on the other side of Lake Erie. Not sure if that's where you're at or what part of Ontario you're at, but yeah, if I wanted to go to Canada from here, it looks like my best bet may be to go up near Buffalo, the Buffalo area, and come across that way, and that would at least get me into Canada. Relatively close to Toronto and stuff. And that's probably, let's see, for fun, let me see. I'm going to switch over to here. And so, let's say I'm near Canton, Ohio. Canton Elevator, Canton, Ohio. And I want to go directions to my location, Canton, Ohio. I want to go to Toronto, Canada. So we're looking at about a 5-hour trip. Oh. Or I could go out the other direction, out through Detroit. It would get me into Canada in about 7 hours. Well, it'd get me to Toronto in 7 hours, but it'd get me in Canada a lot quicker than that. I have relatives that live out here in Toledo area, and it's not that far out there. Well, we'll have to come out there and get some boxes. Go back here. There we go. Yeah, I used to go fishing on Lake Erie as a kid quite a lot. My dad would take us up there. He had a friend that had a big boat, and we'd go out on Lake Erie and fish for walleye or perch, and we'd be out there for hours. Loved it. And there's nothing better. We'd come back and get our limits and get home and clean those fish up. My mom would fix them up. Yeah, it's probably been a good, I don't know, it's probably been pushing 30 years since I've been fishing on Lake Erie. Yep, those are definitely good times. I got a lot of stories about that. There was one time that I was probably 12, 13 years old, something like that. And we went fishing up there. And a real rough lake. There was some storms coming in later that day, and real rough lake. We weren't catching anything. And I got started getting sick. And my dad's like, hey, if you're going to throw up over the boat. We don't want you throwing up in the boat here. So I got sick, threw up over the boat, and within minutes we were catching perch right and left. They were everywhere. We caught our limit. We'd been fishing out there for hours and hadn't caught a thing. And within minutes, I bet you within an hour, we all had our limits. And then a storm came in. We had to get off the lake, but we had plenty of fish to eat. That's for sure. That D looks decent. Doesn't look like anything special there. Big old ugly black spot there. Yeah, most of these are going in my junk silver bin. Like I said, I'll pay my dad for these. I'll give him a fair price for them. Looking good. Yeah, we used to catch a lot of sheephead up there, and yeah, I've never been ice fishing. Um, Never been ice fishing. Probably would have enjoyed it when I was younger. And now I just prefer staying where it's warm. We got some local lakes around here that we go fishing occasionally, and I don't do as much fishing as I used to. And I feel bad about that because I always enjoyed fishing. It just seems like when you got older, you got busier, and kids running all over the place with sports and other activities, and it seems like you just never make time to do that kind of stuff anymore, and you regret it. That's a big one. Yeah, I know we caught some nice sized ones, but I can't. I mean, I couldn't tell you. I do know we were walleye fishing up there one time, and we were trolling, and I got one on my line that was fighting me like you would not believe, and I actually never saw it because it eventually went under the boat and snapped my line. But my dad, who was on the other side of the boat, saw it when it went underneath there, and he said it was the biggest walleye he'd ever seen. So I don't know what that means, other than it was a big one. But I know that was probably the fish that fought me the hardest. And we fought for a good. Before it broke the line, I was trying to reel that thing in for a good 15-20 minutes. And we weren't, our poles and our lines weren't set up for big fish like that, because we weren't catching. I mean, the walleyes we were getting were nowhere near that size. '52. Most of these are 64s. Yeah, they are strong up there. It almost looks like right there the beginnings of another die crack. That goes around about the same area as that other one, although it doesn't come down. Maybe it pokes out the beginning of the corner there a little bit, right above the one, but I don't see it trailing down the one anymore. Anywhere. It is a nice 64. Anyways. That could be. They got a lot of current. And they got to fight against it. They're going to get strong. I'll set this one aside just to take a little closer look at it later. But it kind of looks like to me like there might be a little bit something going on there at the bottom of the base of the of George. So we'll set that one off to the side. Not seen anything that even resembles any doubling yet, other than that machine doubling we saw. Yeah, this is only I think the third live stream I've done. Just now getting into it. I don't mind. It's fun. Chit-chatting with people. Hopefully I can build a channel up to get a few more people on. They'll come. Well, I stay with it. This actually looks almost similar to the one that we just looked at, but it's just a little more worn, so it's hard to tell whether it's just damage and wear or. Let's take a closer look at it. Got my handy dandy with looking through that, I don't really see anything. So I'm just going to throw that one aside, or throw it back in the pile. Let me look at these other ones here. Yeah, that definitely has. This one here definitely has a crack right there at the base going to the. Yeah, I see other people. I've been following other people that have started off slow and just over the last couple months have been really grown in numbers. But you know, I'm gonna sit here looking at this stuff anyways. I might as well talk to people. So I figure. And then let me look at this other one here too. Yeah, it definitely has. This is that first one. It definitely has a nice big old die crack right there. That's pretty cool. That's a nice one there. I like that one. It's too bad that it didn't come down towards the rim down here. All the best to you too. Appreciate everybody that comes on. Nothing there. Yeah, it'd have been a nice retained cut if it would have came down there. I had the only coin I ever found with a nice cut on it was a foreign one, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me. But it was European of some sort, but it had a cut that probably went from, it had been like from like almost a quarter, like came up here, would have come up to here, and you know, to like the L, if it was on the quarter. I ended up selling that on eBay. I kind of wish I'd have kept it. I may have pictures somewhere of it. I have to dig out through some old files, but kind of wish I'd have kept it, but it was the only one I've ever found in. Well, it wasn't really in circulation. I got it in a junk bag or a bulk bag of foreign stuff. This is the oldest one I got right here, 44. I mean, the oldest one I got out of this roll here. 1944. '63. The D looks good. Nothing special there. Wonder if I'm a Cleveland Indians fan. Wonder if I know the Indians are supposed to play tonight in Cleveland, but I don't know if they're going to. It's been pretty wet and rainy most of the day. Let's see. I think they're starting at 7-ish. Oh, nope. Looks like it got postponed. Yep, it's postponed. They haven't have a makeup date yet. So I won't be watching baseball tonight. Nice. Did you get that out of a coin roll? Because if you did, I'm coming up to Canada. I'm telling you. I'm going to come up there and get a bunch of boxes. You just don't find that kind of stuff down here. That's interesting. I think it's just some damage right there. But it's kind of looked like a dot of some sort, but I think it's just a nick. Let me just take a closer look at it. Oh. It almost looks like it might be a little dye chip right there. Ah, I won it. Oh, you're lucky. I'm not coming up for your boxes yet, then. Because if you're finding that kind of stuff and all that silver you're talking about, I'm moving to Canada. Every time I put my hand on this, it goes out of focus. Ever so slightly. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I love those. I love those unexpected finds like that. That's kind of how I felt when I bought those. I bought those war nickels that I had. Let me see. Those war nickels I had a, like I said, had a bunch of RPMs on them. Here is, let me see if you can really see. Here is two of them that I had marked as such. Let me see if I can see that. War nickels were famous for RPMs. This one's a little hard to see, but it is there. You can kind of notice it on the side of the D. It's a real subtle variety there. I think this one's a little stronger. And this was one that, again, these were unmarked too. This has nice toning on it too. I mean, there's no steps, but there's nice toning on it. This one, is this the one? It's a little hard because of the glare. But you can see, you can make out, obviously, I think this is pretty obvious right there at the top. That's part of the top of the S right there. I'm stuck with these pointers. So right there. And then right here at the base of the S as it curves around. A little mark there. What year is that? I forget what year that was. It's a 45S. Poke over here to variety books. I know I did find these at one point. What they were. $45S. Yep, it's let me switch over here. This one right here, RPM 01, and SS Northeast. You can see that little tip right there. And then right there on the curve of the S. That matches up good with mine. So that was a neat find. And it was not sold as such either. So it was just a regular old. He had some nice looking ore nickels. This one actually does have a lot of nice toning on it too. Man, I don't know if I'd call it BU or not, but it's got some nice toning on it. Back to my quarters. So yeah, I like finding those ones that were unexpected. Yeah, and and I saw that when I got it, and I got these probably, I got that probably 10 years ago, and a lot of these sites weren't up there yet, or I wasn't aware of them, so I didn't know which one it was. I didn't know. I just knew what I had, but I didn't know. I didn't know the rarity of it. I didn't know the variety of it. I didn't know, the official number of it. But so a lot of these sites out there now that, like the one I was on there, there's another good example of some good machine doubling on the mint mark. You can see it down here in the R and the A. It's really strong right there on the D. That one could easily fool you into thinking that was an RPM. But it looks just like machine doubling to me. Even on the side of the wing there, you can tell. Yeah, these sites make it so easy to do that now. I mean, there's almost no guesswork at all. And you know what? Shoot. Yeah, I'll figure that out. 63. Between that and the microscopes and just the technology we have now and the information you have online, it's amazing what we can find nowadays that would have taken a lot longer to research, even just a few short years ago. I always thought this was weird. It never looked like the W in we. And for some reason, this really stood out to me on this one, but the W and Wii, it never looked like it was the right size to me, but I think that's actually pretty normal. I just always thought it was odd. Yeah, the W just looks odd, just in general. And like to me, this, and I'm nitpicking this. I'm actually a software designer or a software developer by trade, so I tend to nitpick things like design of stuff. And just looking at the aesthetics of this, the W is kind of out of whack. The E is a little bigger than everything else. The D looks weird and bigger. The G's funny looking to me. So it's just nitpicking, but I always laugh at that though. Just things like that bother me. They stand out to me and I catch them. It drives me nuts. And I think I put that 64 that had that nice die crack on it back in the pile over here. I'm going to go dig that out. Here was the one with this is the one with the smaller die crack. Well, shoot. Well, I'll dig through that quick here. I definitely want to keep that out. 57. I'll go through the rest of these here. I only got a couple left of the quarters. And then I will dig back through for that die crack that I misplaced. Here's another 46. I think the other one was a 44. So I think there's only these two in the 40s. Oh, this roll. And like I said, I knew there was nothing really rare in here. I had looked through these years ago and would have pulled out any rare dates if there was any. Alrighty, so let me go back through and find that 64 that I misplaced here. I'll just do this real quick. Oh, it's gonna stand. It's gonna stand out to me as soon as I see it. First, I'm gonna find the 64s. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them. I've been on here for almost over an hour and a half. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. It wasn't in that pile. I was mowing my grass today, and I had a riding mower. Here it is. There it is. I'll misplace that one again. I'm going to stick that over here. Alright. So, how many did I get out of that? Well, I was saying I mowed my grass today, and I got a riding mower, and I need to, my yard needs to be rolled. And bouncing up and down really messed my back. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see how many I got here on this roll. 4, 6, 2, 2, 4. exactly 40. So my dad wasn't lying when he put these in a roll. Although I just took 2 out, so I probably shouldn't put them back in that roll. Alright. Now, do I want to go through those dimes? Let me look at these Ikes and small dollars. Oh, geez. They make a lot of noise when you drop them. Alright, so I'm going to pull out the Ikes. Okay, that's all the Ikes. There's only 3 Ikes in here. 72, 76, 74D. If you hear any weird noises in the background, that's one of my boys probably watching something on YouTube. Probably some video gaming thing. Alright. So let's look here. So what years did I have? Let's see, I got a 74D. Don't know if there's any varieties in the 74. I mean, any major varieties in the 74. I don't think so. There was. Let's look at the R on Liberty. Because they did make a high relief, which they used in the Bicentennial, and a lower relief that was just the normal one. This looks like the normal one. The high relief has just a straight peg leg here on the R, whereas the lower relief has these little serifs on the bottom. So I think we're good there. Nothing special there. Let me see if there's any double dies. Don't see any RPMs. Doesn't look like anything. Anything on the reverse? Doesn't look like anything special for that year. So it looks like we just have a normal old Ike dollar. I am using OBS. I literally started using it. This is only my 3rd live stream, so I really started using it only about a week or so ago. So I've got some different scenes set up, but I haven't explored it much else than that. Here's the Bicentennial. Let me get that one in there. And here we can see it's a Philadelphia version. And well, let me look at that, because that even looks like the okay, so that's so in the Bicentennials there was a high relief and a low relief, and it has the same type of thing with the R's, where the R has the serifs on the low relief, which seems to be, and there was a high relief one, but this is the low relief one. And then we got the 72. It's got the Serif R on it, which is the normal variety. There's a peg leg one that I think had a little more rarity to it. Okay. Let's see. Now let's see what kind of earth. The earth is the so to me that's type 1. It's got the 3 raised islands right there. Oh, you can't see that. It's got the three raised islands on a type 2. I think I got these types right. On the type 2, there would be no islands right there. And on the type 3, Cuba, which would be this island right there, would extend past where Florida is there. So that looks to be the normal variety, so nothing special there. You know, I'm not sure about the peg leg. To be honest with you. Let me look. Let me look at something here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about the peg leg. I'd have to do some more research. I don't really remember. Again, I've been so focused on foreign stuff lately that I've forgotten a lot of what I've known about. I do know on the 76 they had different lettering on the reverse, and let me pull the 76 back. There was more of a block look to it and a thinner look to it, and this is the thin lettering, so this would be a type 2, which I think the type 1 was. The type 1's a little bit rare. At least in the business strike. This is the type 2. The L's especially would be really thick and blocky, if I remember correctly. Okay. So now I'm going to jump into, we'll look at the gold dollars first. I don't suspect there'll be anything here. In fact, I'm not even sure what to look for. These are probably going to be all 2000. as well. So let me look and see what to look for here. I do know the big thing we want to. Okay, first thing I want to check is on the reverse of these. There was what they call a wounded eagle, and if it was one of those varieties, there'd be, I don't know if it was a die crack or just you know, a variety, or not a variety, but a part of the design. But there would be a line right up through here somewhere. So that does not have that. There's also two different reverses on the 2000s that basically the Cheerio dollar versus the which I guess they're calling the 1999 reverse versus the 2000 reverse, maybe. And I know in the Cheerios version there's much more detail in the tail feathers here. See, the tail feathers have no detail. There'd be a lot more there if there was. And I think that was only on the Philadelphia one version. I don't think the Denver one had any type of varieties on it. Yeah, they called it. Let me pull this up. The Wounded Eagle. Let me switch cameras here. The Wounded Eagle has, see that little right there, that little mark right there. Yeah, I don't know if that's a like I said, I don't know if that's like a die crack or if that's part of the design that was changed later on, or a flaw in the design. I really don't know. I don't even know if it says anything here. I know the Wounded Eagle ones go for quite a bit of money, if I recall. Um, yeah, you're looking at $100 and MS60. So versus, let me go back to the Cheerios dollar. The Cheerios dollar, which had, like I said, the different reverse on it with a little more detail on the tail feathers. Let me see, that one goes for thousands, so that would be a nice one to find. Oops. They also had this cool one here that was a mule between the quarter with the the reverse of the dollar. So it said $quarter, $1. Don't expect to find any of those. That would be nice though. Be a nice little payday. And then just the normal old Sacagawea. And you're worth about $1. And that's what I have right here. There was two different so the Wounded Eagle one, I think that was not the Cheerio one. That had nothing to do with the Cheerios one. But the Cheerios, yes, it was. There was, if I remember the program right, there wasn't $1 in every box of Cheerios. but there was like a dollar coin in every 1,000 boxes cereal or every 100 box cereal, something like that. I forget what uh, the full deal was with that. Oh wait, there we go. 1999, the Mint had to provide General Mills with 5,500 Sacagawea Lodge for an agreed promotion. Would place 5,500 in every 2,000th box of Cheerios. So every 2,000 boxes, there was a silver, one of the dollars in there, and that was right after they were released, so they were kind of a big deal. Um, but then they discovered that the designs were different, and I remember that promotion, and we ate Cheerios, but we didn't eat them. We didn't eat enough of them to get one of those. Sorry, I had to stand up for a minute. So let me switch back to my other camera. And let's see if we find anything else good here. So again, this is 2000p. Let's hope this is a $40,000 coin. Wouldn't that be sweet? Okay, there's no wounded eagle, and the tail feathers look pretty bland. Well, that's disappointing. Yeah, the U.S. Mint has a habit, not very often, but every so often they would do things like that. How did General Mills get that deal with them to promote? I remember when they came out, there was a big deal because they were trying to really promote the small dollars. The Susan B. Anthony's were awful, and they thought these would be the thing that would tip us over. I know in Canada there you got the loonies or whatever they're called that really seem to work a lot better, but the problem here in the U.S. is they won't get rid of the dollar bill. Nobody's going to use these until there's no other choices. So as long as they make the dollar bill, these things will never circulate. This one's in really nice shape there. It almost looks like it was pulled straight from the roll. Maybe it was pulled straight from a Cheerios box. Let's see. No such luck. And there's no wounded eagle in there. It's a nice one though. These get really dingy looking after they circulate for a while. They turn like yellow brown in color, really quite ugly. I still spend these sometimes, but you don't see those in circulation at all. I mean, typically you're not going to get any of these. I've left them for tips at restaurants and things like that, but it's a pretty nice looking one there too. That looks really good in hand. Oh, there's a spot on the reverse though. Looks like a carbon spot on the reverse. Somebody had dirty hands. There's no wounded eagle. And no Cheerios box. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think that was it. Alright, so we'll go through. Well, let's look up what we got with the Susan B. Anthony's. See if we can get anything good out of here. Again, I know there was, these are probably, I'm going to guess these are mostly 1979s. They made them in 79, 80, and 81, and I don't think back then I ever saw anything other than a 79 in circulation. And then they made them again in 1999 because the post office actually was one of the big things where they started using these Susan B. Anthony's to give out change at the stamp machines. You could buy stamps and they'd give you a change in in dollars. So they actually ran low at the mint or wherever they keep, Federal Reserve or wherever they go and stay at, and so they had to mint some more in '99. But they were still already in the process of designing the golden dollars, and so let's see what kind of varieties we can get out of these. So, I mean, the biggest ones that most of us know about are the proofs. 79 and 81, they had two different types of mint marks on the proofs. But there was, in 79 in Philadelphia, there was a narrow rim and a wide rim. And look here at the 39D. Do they have on the D's too? I didn't think they were on the D's. Maybe there's different ways to attribute it here. What's this one? That's the I didn't know there was a in the D's, but you can see there's different rim widths there. The rim's real narrow, or it's real thick. It's a real thick rim, thinner rim. Yeah, let's see what we find. There's other sites out there I can look to. I need to. You look at this Numista site. I love this site. I mostly use it for world coins, and but it has a lot of information about different varieties from all over the world. But it's also very good for U.S. coins too. The other side, you might have. You know what? I'm showing the pages. Here we go. This is Numista. And I think I'm going to do a whole video on this one time. One of these times, next couple times I come live, we'll just go through Numista, because I think it's a real useful site that people miss out on using a lot. Oops. The other site that I was on that was showing when I was looking at the Sacagawea was CoinFacts from PCGS, and their site's really good. They don't list as many varieties. They don't list all the varieties that you'll see. They're not going to list every art. They're going to list the major things. So it's often good. Actually, you know what? I might as well look at here. Let me look at the dollars here. And you can always get good pricing on this too. As far as, the prices are based off of, graded by PCGS coins, but so here's the wide rim, 79 wide rim. So this is the narrow rim, and that's the wide rim. You can see there's not much space between the one and the rim on the wide rim, whereas the narrow rim, you have a lot more space there. If we look down at pricing on this, so this is this is the wide rim. So, in 63, you're looking at $28 or so. $20 or so. Whereas if we looked at the regular strike in 63, it's a couple dollars. So, not a huge thing, but the wide rim is does have a little more value to it. So we want to look for the one that's really close to the rim. And that's the one we want to see. But yeah, so those are both cool sites. A lot of good information on those. So this is 79 Denver. I'm still going to check for the, it's definitely a wide rim. I'm sorry, a narrow rim. Yeah, on the proofs there's an open S and closed S for the 79s and the 81 proofs. Actually, I think type 1 or type 2. Type 2, I believe, is the clear type, and type 1 is the smushed site. And you know what? Let's go over here. Let me go back here. Let's see if they have the different varieties here. They might not. Oh wait, these are not proofs. You actually can find circulated, I'm sorry, yeah, circulation strikes from 79 from San Francisco. I've actually never found one in circulation, but you can. They did make them. On the proofs are the ones that have the two different types of mint marks. And you can see the type 1 is kind of a filled, smushy mint mark, and the type 2 is a little bit clearer. The type 2 has a little better, I'm sorry, that's type 1. So that's a couple dollars in there, but I think the type 2 has a bit more value, and I think the same goes for the 81. 81 type 1. They don't show the different, so it's a little more smushy. Where the type 2 is so make sure my wife didn't text me. Okay. The type 2 has a little better definition on that. Again, the type 2 I think is more valuable, so you're looking at $65 in MS65 or proof 65, where the type 1 you're looking at $5. So now none of these are going to be proofs. Yeah, there's so much info, and there's so much that to learn, and that's why books are written on this stuff. There's so much to learn, so much to kind of, and that's why these sites are great, because there's no way I'm going to remember all this stuff. So, and then you throw in my interest in foreign stuff, world coins. You throw that in there, and there's like even more. So that's the wide rim. It definitely looks like the wide rim to me. It's a pretty nice looking coin, though. I don't think there were any, I can check, but I don't think there was any real die varieties as far as double dies. Or anything like that. I can look real quick. There's probably a few, and let's see. Looks like there's one found in let me switch back here. One for 1999, and it looks really subtle to the point where I probably don't even care. And on the reverse, doesn't look like there's any listed. You can see the different style of mint marks here. So it's interesting. So like in 79, this was the Type 1 of 79, and then the Type 2 was this of 79. That was what was used in 80 and 81. So in 81, that mark became Type 1 of 1981, and then there was a Type 2 of 81. So if that's not confusing enough. So yeah, YouTube's great, man. You learn so much. Everybody has different expertise and more different knowledge of stuff that um, I can only hope to have some of it. And you know what? I'm sure. I know. There's things that I know that other people don't know, and I'm glad that I can share stuff. That's what makes it fun, because I don't sit here in my little room and I'm isolated from everybody. And you get out to the local coin show every once in a while if you're lucky enough to have one, which I am lucky enough to have a coin show near me once a month, but it's a small uh, event. So like this, to be able to talk to other people, learn from them, share some of my knowledge, it's great. So I'm also looking for any die cracks or anything like that. These are really ugly coins, though. I mean, from a design perspective, it is not a pretty coin. I know Peavey. I forget what I think Peavey calls her the old hag or something like that. And you throw these in your pocket with a bunch of quarters. It's almost impossible to tell the difference between them. And that's why so many of them got spent as quarters, and nobody ever noticed it. And that's one reason they failed so bad. The other thing too is the vending machines never really caught up to them, not until in the 90s. If the vending machines would have used these, they may have taken off a little bit more. I'm not even sure now if vending machines, still not all of them will use them. Oh, there's an ugly one. That is ugly. I do know I never searched these for this Friday, because when I was a kid, my dad was getting these. I don't even know if that variety was really discovered yet. The wide rim versus the narrow rim, and if it was, I'd never seen it or never heard of it. Yeah, we're supposed to have another baseball game tomorrow. Actually, a doubleheader tomorrow. But I think it's supposed to rain most of the night, and at least partially through the day tomorrow. So I kind of suspect we won't have it. But nevertheless, we have to plan for it. I know if it gets canceled, we will be doing more cleaning here and getting the house ready and the food ready for Sunday. Um, but I'm sure I will find time. I will pop back on, I'm sure. And who knows what I'll do. Who knows what I'll be looking through that day. Maybe I'll finish. Who knows if I'll get all this stuff done here tonight. My stomach's starting to say, hey, you're a little hungry, Jason. There's a hair on this one. I don't know if it's just because I don't know why, but I've not found too many die cracks on these. I don't know that the quality's that much better, or I don't know. I don't know if they're making the dies out of harder material, or is the design just not very I know sometimes the design itself can weaken. It has weak spots on the die that makes it easy for die cracks to occur. I just don't see too many of them on these bigger coins. Well, this isn't even that big. It's the size of a quarter. But the Ikes, like the Ikes and now the Morgan dollars, have die cracks all over those things. I know, I think it was 1921 was a bad year for die cracks on the Morgans. I even have one here that has. Let me pull out my junk Morgans here. Let me see. I don't think this one has any. Oh, yep, look at that. Yeah, they tended on these Morgans. Some years were just awful. I think the quality of some of these mints were not that great back then. But look around the letters there. Look at that. Comes out of the rim there, goes around that side. Oops. Which way am I going here? So yeah, there's issues all the way around that one. They were just notorious for that stuff back then. And on the peace dollars, I don't know if this has one here, but a lot of times you'll see them across the base of the neck here. A lot of times you'll see die cracks. I don't know if I have an example of that. It kind of look a lot like the Washington we had earlier. Across the base there. I don't know if I have an example of that. Let's see. Let's take a look at this Morgan here. Well, this is not staying focused very well. There we go. And actually, with some of these Morgans, you can see the difference in the mints. Like, For example, Denver might have been awful, but Philadelphia was fine, or vice versa in some cases. Like this one here was a Philadelphia, and it's awful. That was that first one I showed you. Here's another Philadelphia. Let's see if we got any good stuff going on here. These are all just junk silver. Nothing. I traded some work for these. Did some computer consulting with a buddy of mine, and I just traded him work for silver. Yeah, I don't have any CCs. Not in the Morgans, anyways. Here's a Orleans, New Orleans Mint, 1887. Well worn there. I got a little sidetracked here. 22. Let's see if I can find them. Looking for die cracks. A lot of times you find them around the stars here too. And the letter, same point of the design. Ooh, I know what I want to show. I'll take a look at this last one. I got one more Morgan to show a little bit, because it's pretty cool. It has some die cracks. If I recall, it has a nice clash going on. It's pretty nifty. Look at this Morgan quick. Alright, let me pull out my other. Put these away real quick. If I don't put them away, they will sit on my desk, and then I'll be complaining in a week about my desk being messy. Here is one I picked up recently. It's a fairly common Morgan especially in BU. It's actually quite common. This is making it look a little shinier than it really does. I don't know if you can. It's a nice BU, but I don't know if it's. It's not helping me. But anyways, 1887 is an 1887 Philadelphia. Let's see some of the things going on in here. I'm going to leave this one in the holder, so bear with the glare coming off of it. Wait, I got it upside down, no wonder I'm all messed up. So if you look, and again, the scope is pulling out the, looks much better in hand, that's for sure. If you look right there by the mouth, got a little clash going on there. If you look at the back here, I don't know if you can make that out right at the back of the head, right there. There's like clash going on right there. I wish I could show this. I don't know. I wish I didn't have to use a scope for that. And I forget which. I looked this up. I forget which VAM it is. It does have VAM. Right there's another nice clash right underneath where the glare was right there. You can see that's actually the back of the neck right there. This was another one that I picked off of eBay, and it was just listed as a BU Morgan, but made no mention of the VAM number or made no mention of the clashes or anything like that. Let me see. There might be something going on. It looks like there's. I think there is. I forget. Yeah. Again, it's hard to see with the glare and everything from the holder, but right at the top there, the state. There's a nice die crack going around the letters too. So yeah, that's a nice one there. That's fun. But again, I like finding those types, especially when I can get them unattributed, cheap. Makes it even more fun. All right, back to these not so exciting small dollars. It's just so much uglier than the other one. What you think? You know, I wish they would bring back. What if they made the Morgan design this size in a gold dollar? That'd be a pretty cool looking coin there. I'm probably butting up against PV or somebody's having an auction, I'm sure, right now, but there's like no good time to go online. So I just do it when it's convenient for me. I will be right back. I forgot I take blood pressure pills, and I forgot I didn't take mine yet. So I'll be right back. Alrighty. Fully medicated. Got something to drink too. Nothing too exciting. Dang doctors will always want you to take pills. Oh, these are just not looking good here. Excuse me. We got a couple more of these. I'm not finding my retirement coin here. Definitely not as fast at this as like Mantic or any of those other people. But well, did not find any near rims or whatever they're called. That big old neck right there at the top of the head. That's it. That's all those. So I had $3 Ike dollars, 6 of the Sacagawea dollars, and I had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I had 24 of those ugly ones. So now it's all that's left in this box is dimes. And they're all loose. There's got handfuls of them. Like I said, they're all Mercs and Roosevelts. I think that's all that's in here. There's probably 2 rolls of them at least. 2 rolls total, I guess, something like that, give or take. So Dad never, and you know, every one of these was pulled out of circulation, you know, probably at the garage, and you know, so he didn't find a ton, but you know, over the years. Let's see. I think that's it. Alrighty. Well, that's a lot. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all this tonight. Yeah, I have a lot of Mercs. They're kind of one of my favorite coins, to be honest with you. I like the design. I don't know if I've ever found any die cracks on them. In fact, I don't know that I found a ton of die cracks on dimes, to be honest with you. I can't say that I ever have. But I do like Mercs. I'm not going to separate these. These are just going to be how I pull them out of here. So, and again, these are going to be all pretty common, I'm sure. 41. Plain. Because I would have pulled out any rare stuff when I was a kid. 1960. Never been a big fan of Roosevelt, or the dime anyways. Just not, especially when I compare it to what it replaced. It just didn't do anything for me. I'm going to separate them out as I look at them now, just so I can get a feel for how many of each variety I have. Here, 54. Yeah, most of these are well circulated. There are a few, just looking through the pile here, there's a few rosies that are probably AU or better, but 37. Shape. 44. 44S. I always look for, of course, I'll look for the RPMs on any of these. It looks clean though. I know there's some oddball varieties like large and small S's and things like that. I'm not sure. Not really completely sure what I'm looking for. I know they used, there was an inverted, what year was this? This was what? 44. I know there was one year where it was an inverted S. Different type of serifs on them. Just, you know. Pretty normal. Yeah, the micro S. I think that's on what, the 45. Yeah, you gotta see. Let me switch over here because I'll show you the different styles of mint marks for the S, anyways. Used, and this is the one that was used for most of the years, except for a few oddball. Like that last one was a 44, which I think it's this one. I think this is the one that last one was. Actually, you know what? Let me pull that back. Yeah. I'm going to switch to this. Get a little bit bigger. Yeah, so that's this one here because of the straight serif on it. I'm pretty sure. It's not this one with the ball serif on it. And those are the two that were used in 44. So that's what I want to stick with. This one was what, a 43? 64. Denver, it looks fine. $64. There, Denver. Another 64. Another Denver. $43. Yeah, if I remember correctly, there was nothing at 37. Might be one of the older ones that's in here. It's cruddy looking. So, one of the older Roosevelts. Here the cat's going crazy outside. We got some cats they're all outside cats. They kind of hang around, which I don't mind to keep the mice out of the house. They like to fight on the porch. Oh, I don't know if I have the strength to go through the rest of these tonight. Anyway, here's a nice one. That's a real nice shape. It's just a 64, but that's a real nice shape. That's cool. I have not searched dimes for years. There was just never ever anything to be found in them. I just haven't bothered. Even now, I'm not even really looking at clashes. There might be some here, but I know when I was a kid, and like I said, when I did corn rolls hunting, it was mostly pennies because that's what I could afford to get out of the bank. And found lots of clashes in those. A lot of clashes, a lot of die breaks, die cracks, and whatnot. I searched pennies and I searched nickels. Nickels, you always have, even today, nickels are probably one of the best things to search to find old stuff. I think, anyways. You can always find stuff, that's. I mean, you're not going to find a lot of silver. You can find an occasional war nickel, occasional buffalo, maybe. I mean, I've never found a buffalo. Found some war nickels. I've never found a buffalo or a V nickel or anything like that, but I've seen a lot of people do that. Seems like nickels are pretty decent and inexpensive. Search. My biggest problem is I live in a very small community, and there's not a lot of banks near me. So especially when I was a kid, there was nowhere for me to dump them, to get my money back, to recycle them. Um, Even now, there's only a couple banks in decent driving distance, I should say, of me. And I'll look at something here. Okay. I guess I never paid attention that the C and the A are kind of connected right here. Because when I looked at this one, which had a lot more wear on it, it almost looked like there might have been a die break right there, or a die chip or something right there. But it's not. I think it's just the way it wore. I will say that now I tend to, and I still don't do a ton of coin roll hunting, like boxes and stuff. I'll get rolls of halves every so often. $50, $50 worth here and there type of thing. And what I do is I take them to a Coinstar near my work, and the Coinstars, I can get Amazon gift certificates, and they don't charge you any fee for the Amazon gift certificate. Whereas if I would have got cash or store credit or something like that, they charge you a percentage. So I get the Amazon gift credit or gift certificate, put that on my Amazon account, and then use it to buy stuff off Amazon. And I can use it to buy stuff I might want, or we actually buy quite a few things, just household things that we're going to buy anyways. So that way I can do the coin roll hunting, and I'm not really out any money because I'm still going to use it to buy stuff. And it's easy to do. Now it may go, I'm not sure where that change, Coinstar, who gets it, who rolls it back up, where does it get distributed to? Maybe it ends up right in my bank again, where I'm then researching it, but I kind of doubt it. At least it won't be that easy to do. And here was this. I should pay attention more. 43S. And the S looks pretty normal. Right now the Mercs are keeping pace with the Roosevelts as far as a count. Roosevelts are a little bit ahead, maybe probably only 6 or 7 of the ones I went through anyways already. I said I was going to stop looking, but I keep picking them up. But my belly is getting hungry. Alright, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm getting hungry, getting tired. My wife's not home from the grocery store yet. I should know where she's at. Oh, my wife's texting me. No. Okay, well, don't have baseball tomorrow. That's one good thing. Um, so I'll get some other stuff done tomorrow. So both games have been canceled for tomorrow. Um, Sorry, you see me text, listening to my texts. Oops. Um, let's see. Yeah. Ooh. Shoot. Okay. One moment. My wife's still at the store. Looks like she's coming home. So I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging out with me, Coin Junkie. Um, I do plan on trying to be a little more regular online, and although I probably won't have my own time slot, I'm not that not going to be that steady. But you know, I hope to get online more and come out, hang out, and chat. Come back anytime. If you see me online, come on back. So, hope you have a great. If I don't talk to you, hope you have a great weekend. So, and everybody else out there that might be seeing this, have a great weekend. Have a great Easter, and God bless.